Hi everyone, how are you? So I haven't made a video in a while because of course you don't see much, thank goodness, about Amanda Knox, but the New York Times, the lefty rag of the establishment, has decided on October 22nd, 2021 to follow up with the convicted of calumnia or slander, the lifelong felon who tries to deny that, and they don't mention it in this article. But anyways, so they're trying to make it sound like she's exonerated. She was never exonerated, not at all. She was let go. They want to get rid of her as political. But anyways, so it's 10 years later, and they're following up with her because nobody cares, nobody asked. But yeah, here we go. So 10 years after being cleared of a heinous crime, she is still trying to tell her story on her own terms. Yeah, because she won't shut up. And look at the title. She was exonerated. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were let go. You were. They decided to let you go under the pretense of not enough evidence, but there's plenty of evidence. But they just used that excuse to get rid of you. She was never found not guilty. I mean, she was never found innocent. Excuse me. There's two ways you can be let go. You're found innocent or you're found not guilty. In the legal system, there's a difference, and probably here as well. Where if you're innocent, that means you were cleared completely. She was not. She was not exonerated. She was. They used the not guilty one, where it looks. They confirmed that she was there. All right. In the final, if you read the final verdict of the Italian Supreme Court, they confirm that she was there at the time of the murder and she washed Meredith's blood off her hands. They admit that that's a fact and they accept that. But then they said, well, but there's not enough evidence to prove that she actually did it is what they went with, even though they had all of this evidence. Anyways, but Amanda always continues to lie, even 10 years later. She wants to continue to lie and say she was exonerated. And of course, she's playing the poor me, the narcissist, psychopathic. Poor me, I'm such a victim, even though I murdered someone. Now, New York Times, of course, you have to pay for this behind a paywall, but if you go to Wayback Machine, you can read the article for free, which I highly recommend. Don't give any money to New York Times. Anyway, so it's written by somebody named Jessica Bennett. I have no idea who she is. Don't care. So she went to visit Amanda here. So I'm going to read this for the first time. I just started reading it and I said, let me make a reaction video to this because I can't believe what I'm reading just from the first two paragraphs. Okay, wait. All right, so she says, she starts off saying, within minutes of meeting Amanda Knox for the first time, she planted her newborn daughter into my arms. Yes, Amanda Knox has a baby that she has been keeping a secret for months. Worried that photographers would show up at her door, worried it would become a headline about, quote, Foxy Knoxy's path to motherhood, which of course it will now. Will it? Because this article has been out for quite a few days and I really haven't heard many people talk about it. The only reason I knew about it is somebody told me. I would never have known, didn't care. We have a lot more serious things going on. Nobody really cares about her so much anymore. And she should enjoy her anonymity, but instead, here we are, planting herself in the New York Times, one of the biggest newspapers, because she wants attention. She's a narcissist. She's a psychopath. She has to have attention, and of course, she has to play the victim. Poor me. So, of course, she's going to play up the mother card now. But wait, that's not the word. It gets worse. So the woman who wrote this article says, I didn't particularly want to hold the baby, but Ms. Knox informed me was having trouble pooping. Let me say that again. She didn't particularly want to hold the baby, but Amanda threw the baby in her arms, basically, showing how, still to this day, how tin-elbowed and inconsiderate she is of other people because she's a narcissist, psychopath. She just assumes you want to hold it. Here, hold it. And the first thing she tells this reporter is, oh, my child, the baby's having trouble pooping. Now, if you know how controlling and how she schemes and plants everything she says, Amanda's very controlling narcissist, and so everything she says it is for a reason. Basically, this is how psycho the woman is. So for the fact that the first thing Amanda says, she brings up pooping. Now, anyone who has followed or read in detail this case, the murder of Meredith Kircher, knows that all throughout the case, Amanda Knox's obsession with feces is keynote. All right. What was Amanda's problem with her roommate Meredith? Oh, Amanda didn't flush the toilet. She would leave her poop in there, and it disgusted Meredith Kercher, and they actually had to have an argument over this. Um, because Meredith had to ask her parents and her friends, and they have testified to this, that she was like, Amanda never flushes the toilet. It's disgusting. What do I do with this? How do I confront her on this? Because it was an obvious aggressive, it appeared to be an aggressive move on Amanda to, because the small bathroom with that she shared, it was just Meredith and Amanda. So if Amanda left poop in there, it was only for Meredith, right? There was nobody else using that bathroom. So that's one way of looking at it. Now, besides that issue with the pooping, then we go to at the time of the murder, or right after, when the body is discovered, the police first arrive. Everybody's ushered outside, and Amanda decides, "Oh, I'm going to help the police." So Amanda walks up to the police officers and says, "There's poop in the other bathroom." So that was another thing. The only thing Amanda could think of or was obsessed with was informing the police officers about finding feces in the other bathroom that was used by the other girls. Okay. And the police were just looking at her like, what? Your roommate has just been found murdered, and all you care about is poop in the other bathroom. So Amanda has this obsession with feces. She's some psycho thing with her. Don't know what it is, not a psychologist. I'm just saying. And here we go with this New York Times article. And the first thing she says is, oh, my child's having trouble pooping. That poor baby. Oh my God. Ah! Somebody call protective services. All I gotta say. She's already acting psycho. Anyways, that's my reaction to that. Again, this is my reaction video. Take with it what you will. But I followed this case a long time, and the fact that that's in the second paragraph coming up, the first thing Amanda says about the baby is discussing its pooping patterns to a complete stranger who doesn't even want to be holding the baby that she just met. And of course, then right after talking about the child's pooping, then Amanda immediately goes into Italian, right, with this reporter who's not Italian, she's American. But of course, Amanda has to show off that she can speak Italian, although she never really spoke it that well because she learned Italian in prison. She knows like street Italian. So she's ciao amore, she cooed in her Italian. So right away, this article we know is Amanda's message to Italy and to the Italians that to shove it in their faces that she got off for murdering Meredith Kercher and speaking Italian and talking about bring poop up again. So the baby's name is Eureka Muse Knox Robinson. Whatever. And it says Knox and her husband had documented the pregnancy in their podcasts, but have not revealed that they're parents. So all right, so she's keeping the child secret. All right, fine. But then she comes out in the New York Times with it. It's like, it's not that Amanda wants to keep her child a secret. It's that she wants to control when you find out about it. And when she does announce it, she's not going to do it in a low level like normal parents would, posting pictures on Instagram. I believe they have an Instagram account or something like that. No, instead, Amanda's going to go to the New York effing Times, baby, because she's a full-blown narcissist here. This is not about being a happy mother and wanting to share her beautiful child. No, she wants to withhold it and keep control of the information until she decides you're allowed. And when she wants you to know, she wants everyone in the damn world to know. So that's not wanting privacy. This is a control freak, again, narcissist, psychopath, wanting to control. And she thinks it's going to be a big story. And I guess for her it is because nobody cares about her anymore. But anyways, Amanda says, I'm still nervous about the paparazzi bounty on her head, attaching a breast pump as we spoke. Okay, TMI, TMI. And then it talks about what Amanda's wearing, whatever, wrinkled shirt. She said she hasn't slept in a while. She said, I will say I'm excited to not have to just pretending not to be a mom. So she's excited because she doesn't have to lie anymore, because obviously she was lying to everyone, lying by omission. And of course, Amanda lied and lied throughout the trial. She's a pathological liar, which is also characteristic of a psychopath, narcissist, just saying. So because it's like my brain is just there. And documenting the most vulnerable details of her pregnancy. Actually, so now in Amanda's world, she's the only woman that's ever been pregnant, right? Please, ruling out the decoy strategy for the media. So, in all effort to control, she is. Oh, she admits here. She admits here. Okay, here we said strategically rolling out a decoy strategy for the media only to reveal your baby in a newspaper, all in an effort to control. See, controlling is very important to narcissists. Control what's being written about you. It sounds like slightly convoluted logic. Yeah, slightly. That's Amanda's whole story. Everything she does is convoluted logic. Well, Amanda Knox has never been one to do things that people expect her to do. Oh, please, yeah. Like murder people. Nobody expected that, but he did it anyways, didn't ya? Let's look at this outfit she's wearing. Okay, blue and pink, whatever. She even looks miserable. Look at her. She's holding her child, and she's not even smiling. You know, hiding the child's face, and still because she still wants you to see her as a victim. Poor me. It's all about Amanda, right? See, look at this picture. This picture is not about her joyously showing off her child. This is a picture about poor me. You know, it's always about her. So this poor child is in for a life of grief. That's all I guess. That's my opinion. Anyways, you remember her story, right? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Ms. Knox is the former Seattle college student, cemented in our public psyche as Foxy Knoxy, jailed for 4 years for the rape and murder of a British roommate. Actually, she spent 4 years in prison also for calumnia or criminal slander against her boss, falsely accusing him of murder. So she rightfully served that sentence, and that's why she is a convicted felon to this day. And that's why she's not considered exonerated, besides all the other reasons regarding the charges of murder. But her charges of criminal slander, she's rightfully convicted, and that's what her sentence was for. And that's why she tried to get, or didn't, I don't know if she tried to get money for wrongful conviction, but she couldn't because she was convicted for slander. So yeah, and she also tried to get money, claiming she was abused by the police, but that failed as well. She was found not to have been abused by police. But anyways, here we go. Knox and her boyfriend, yeah, ultimately acquitted, but not found innocent. I'm adding that in because that's the fact. She claims that she was deprived adequate legal aid, which is total BS. And that DNA evidence used to convict her was flawed. No, it wasn't. That was just the accusation by the defense. She ordered Italy to pay her, but they never did. Then she tries to blame everything. So she tries to blame everything on Rudy Gaudet, a guy she hung out with there and probably did drugs with. He actually had to serve his full sentence separately. But anyways, he's supposed to be coming out with a book soon. And Rudy Gaudet has said that Amanda did it. Amanda and Raphael were there, and they did it. So when his book comes out, you'll see he will come out. And of course, she's nervous about that. Amanda's very nervous about Rudy Gaudet coming out with his book, coming out with the truth, because Amanda's been lying all these years. So that's something to look forward to, at least. But anyways, they go into the story again, and you know, what they're writing here is just they're going over their defense and Amanda accused the defense of trying to make it seem like a satanic sex game. Sex game was a poor translation from Italian into English. Basically, showing that, but there were multiple people. It was proven by the evidence that multiple people were involved in the death of Meredith because someone had to hold her down because she was not tied up or anything. So someone was holding her down, attacking her with a knife. And Meredith did no karate and would have defended herself. She was like a brown belt or near a black belt. She had been doing it for years. So, and then they write here, beautiful victim, Ms. Kircher, with an equally beautiful American roommate. Yeah, okay, stretching things there. But they were two young, attractive women, and that's part of the reason why besides Amanda Knox hiring a huge PR firm to spread lies about her in the American media. Now, it's important to point out here that this was just before the term fake news became mainstream. But this was all fake news. If you read anything in the New York Times or any American newspapers or broadcasts, CNN and all the rest, The View, they all lied. They all pushed Amanda's side of the story and omitted facts of the case. So it was very biased and in the favor of Amanda Knox in the United States. And that is why so many people believed she was innocent, because they weren't getting all the facts. But in Italy and Europe, people got all the facts, and they knew and still know, as more and more people in the US are finding out that Amanda Knox is in fact guilty of murder, even though she got away with it due to political pressure with Hillary Clinton and other pressure from the PR attacking. At one point, a former FBI agent and his wife went to one of the trials and screamed at the prosecutor like a crazy woman there. So, I mean, there was a lot of craziness surrounding this, brought on by the political and public relations money thrown at this to force through, to put pressure on Italy to try to free Amanda and Raphael, and they ultimately were able to do that. But she was again convicted of criminal slander, for which she's a convicted felon to this day, and her, being released, set free from the murder charges for now, which could be brought back onto her if the president of Italy decided to do so. So anyway, so she keeps, poking the bear here with her coming out with her little articles and trying to continue the lie. It's very important to Amanda to continue lying about this and pushing her narrative. It's all about narrative, and that's one of the reasons her people really hate anyone coming out with the truth about this. They can't stand it. I tell you, can't stand it. So anyways, it's all about the narrative here. So she was vilified as a sex-crazed, diabolical Luciferina. Well, she was doing a lot of drugs and she was sleeping around with a lot of men. However, that was, only to show that her out-of-control behavior and drug use is what led to the murder, But of course, for Amanda, it's all personal. She left a vibrator in the bathroom for everyone to see. I mean, she was just out of control when she was there. But, she was early 20s, but she really went overboard with it. And she had been abusing drugs since before she went to Europe. Her old roommates at the University of Washington said that one of the reasons Amanda went to Europe at that time when she was 20 years old is because she wanted to live somewhere where she could drink legally, because it was very important to her. She wanted to drink and do drugs. And Perugia is a known party town, a lot of drugs coming in there. And Amanda was not there as an exchange student. She was not with a program. She just went there on her own, found a place to live, got a part-time job a little bit, but she didn't do very well with that. And she ended up accusing that boss of the murder and took him out of business, forced his business. He went out of business after that because of the drama at the time. People believed her at first. So he was, harassed and harangued. Well, he sued and has won. And actually, Amanda Knox owes, Patrick Lumumba was his name. Amanda owes him like 30,000 euros. I don't know if she's paid him or not. As far as I know, she has not paid him yet. So she does owe Patrick Lumumba money for falsely accusing him of murder. So now they're bringing her up again. And now she claims to be advocating for wrongfully convicted because she can't get a real job. I mean, she's all about herself. All she wants to do is talk about herself and what a victim she is. She cannot hold a real job. She's going to be, now she's an advocate, because what does she do as an advocate? She gets on stage, puts herself the center of attention, and talks about me, poor me. That's all she wants to do all day because she's a narcissist. I mean, so now here she is in the New York Times announcing her child. And they're going over the whole story again with her bias. I'm not going to go through her bias. If you know the story, you know the story. But she's going through her version of events, her truth. So blah, blah, blah. So this is it, basically. So she's rehashing her lies here, her biased version of events here, and leaving out a lot of information here. So I'll just end it there, but I just wanted to show you quickly. I don't want to read this whole article. I don't want to get in trouble with New York Times here. But like I said, you can go to Wayback Machine and read the whole thing for yourself. She claims that she taught herself Italian. Yeah, right. She was taking classes for Italian. So it's all poor her, poor baby. And this is supposed to be about her announcing her child. There's nothing about her child in here. It's always the same thing. Whenever you see an article with Amanda Knox, no matter how many years, no matter what's happening in her life, it always comes back to her and her experience and how she felt and what happened to her and her continuing to push her narrative. she's continuing to push her, well, I was weird in school, so people just thought I was a murderer, and that she's sort of trying to take the idea of the West Memphis Three there, where trying to claim that, oh, they just thought I was weird and that's why they blame me. It's like, no, Amanda, all the evidence blames you. All the evidence points to you and your boyfriend there and Rudy Gay, all three of you. So now they're saying at the end here, Knox and her husband live in a woodsy enclave, a short ferry from West Seattle, whatever. She says, we have a little bubble, but we're not completely off the grid. Okay, whatever. Good, stay off the grid, stay far away, put yourself in a bubble. And talking at really very little here about the child, just mentioning that they're with the child, giving her something to do there. You know, then she goes into her memoir that she didn't write. She had a ghostwriter help her with that. She didn't write that. It is a crappy. And I actually went through part of it and sort of pointed out a lot of her lies, but I stopped after only, a third of the book because there's so many lies in it. It would take so many books just to cover all the lies of omission and lies that she puts in there. So, yeah, and of course she has to attack the prosecutor. She's obsessed with the prosecutor, Dr. Manini. They call him Mr. Manini. It's Dr. Manini to you, New York Times. So he's since retired and is publishing a book on the case next year. Okay, so another book to look forward to is Dr. Manini is coming out with a book. And that must make Amanda very nervous too. Yeah, and they have a quote from him. Wow, they actually spoke to him. Wow, a little bit of research. They didn't do this during the trial. They just demonized Manini the entire trial. But here they actually talked to him like a human being. Wow, congratulations, New York Times. You're improving a little bit on your reporting on this case, slightly, just a tiny bit. So apparently he says, quote, I'm aware that finding herself far from home at that age, she must have certainly suffered a lot. While that perspective does not change his view on the case, he said he acknowledged that she was portrayed as a sort of Circe, but that's it. Oh, they don't quote him any more than that. Oh, look at that, they cut him off there. So you're not really being very objective here at all. He still knows she's guilty, as we all do. And the end of the quote here, what I keep telling Chris is that I want to get a place where I don't have to keep living the worst experience of my life so we can pay the mortgage. Now, what she's not saying here, now she's claiming poverty, right? Oh, so she's looking for money. That's the main reason for this article, too. She wants you to give her donations. So she's giving you her little poor me song and dance because she and her family have gotten so many donations from people who were fooled into thinking she was innocent. And she's still looking for more donations. But she's living in $3 million home. It's a very expensive home by the ocean that she lives in. She lives in a mansion there, basically. It's a huge home by the ocean, and she's claiming poverty here. Don't you love this? Our home by the beach there, it's a little, too cluttered. I need some more room now. Send me some more money. That's basically what she's trying to do here. And she says, I keep telling myself if all else fails, I can make cuckoo clocks for a living. See, now there is another example. See, she's trying to instigate people, right? She wants you, she says things like this, like, I'll make cuckoo clocks, right? Because she knows people will say, you're cuckoo, right? And always have been. And so then she can play the victim again. Poor me, they're picking on me again. But she's giving you something. She's like handing it to you on a silver platter to insult her with the cuckoo, thing here. And this is basically baiting people. She's baiting her detractors here with these kind of things. The whole thing, actually, the whole New York Times expose here. So this is her typical MO because she loves the attention, because she's a narcissist and a psychopath. And so this is about her pandering for money again, and again trying to play the victim. And this is not about showing her child. There's not one picture of her child showing her child's face or anything. And the one picture she shows, it's like they look miserable. It just looks depressing and angry. And the fact that the first thing that they would say about it is poop, right? And even the main picture, I mean, what the hell is this? Everything about her is just miserable and dark and murderous and criminal. So if you feel like reading it, I don't even think I feel like reading the whole thing. I just don't care anymore. But I do, will say that she's still as psycho as ever, still a murderess, still a convicted felon, and still lying. And that is it. So again, New York Times, October 22nd, Wayback Machine. Take care. Bye-bye.